Today's video is brought to you by TV.com. That is spelled with 2 E's and 3 E's, TEEVEEE.com. Head over there right now through the link in the box. Subscribe to my channel for some exclusive video content. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the case of Atatiana Jefferson, the young lady who was shot and killed in her house by an officer in the Fort Worth, Dallas area of Texas. Now, this story is quite frankly incomplete. We have some information, but I think there's a lot more that still needs to be revealed. So I'll give you what I have so far and my opinion about the situation as it stands today. First of all, there was a wellness check called by this young lady's neighbor. I think it might have been 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not really sure the exact time, but it was that night. They called a wellness check on the particular residence because the guy saw the door open. It's late at night. He wanted to make sure everything was on the up and up. He did not call the 911 number. He called the non-emergency line. Now, I don't know if the dispatcher relayed the message that it was not an emergency, it was just a welfare check to the officers or not. Because sometimes when you call the police, whether 911 or non-emergency, the message may be relayed to the officers responding differently than what you intended for it to be. So I don't really know what the officers were told, but whatever the case may be, the initial call, according to the guy that called in, was for a welfare check. So there's some body cam footage that has been revealed, and I'll link to that in the box. I heard that it was heavily edited. Now, I don't know if that's for time to shorten how long it is to be on television, or if it was edited to, remove certain information like the address, personal things that you don't want to be on television. I'm not really sure how it was edited, if it was edited or what, but I am hearing that it's been edited. Maybe we'll see the full tape. Maybe we'll hear more information from that. I don't really know, but I digress. There has been some footage that's been revealed. Now, in that footage, you see the really key part, which is the officer going to a window and shooting inside the window. And then, unfortunately, Miss Jefferson was on the other side. She gets shot and killed. She was in there playing video games with, it might have been her niece or her son or somebody, a child. And I think it was an 8-year-old. Now, I don't know why the officer shot so quickly, and I did not hear the officer identify himself. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but I didn't hear that. So my question to the officer and to the police in that area would be, why did the officer shoot into the window so quickly? I mean, what was the reasoning for that? If it's a welfare check, just knock on the door. Hey, is everything okay? Whatever, just to make sure everything's all right. But like I said, if the call was relayed to the officers from the dispatcher differently than what it was originally intended, they may not have known to just do the welfare check, knock on the door. Is that the fault of the dispatcher? Maybe not necessarily. I've not heard a 911 call, and I don't know the protocol about how to handle certain calls based upon, certain key words that are used, the severity, like the desperation of the call. If you can sense somebody's kind of like desperate, kind of scared in the phone call, although they may call a non-emergency number, it may be treated as an emergency based upon your general demeanor. You could be in a situation where you may not be able to call 911. Like, it's all kind of variables that go into it. Like I said, it's hard to make a real determination on this until we get more information. I'll give you what I have right now. Now, for the officer shooting into the actual window and killing the young lady without really identifying himself or anything like that, he has been charged with murder. He was in jail. I think the bail bond, whatever you want to call it, was $200,000. He was able to make that. Now he's out. Of course, he will be going to trial, and he will most likely be convicted. Now, if you ask me, just my humble opinion, if it's anything less than the electric chair tomorrow, I don't think it will be enough for people that are upset, because there's going to be some obvious comparisons to the Amber Geiger Botham Jean case. Okay, you're in the same area, Dallas Fort Worth, and the Botham Jean Amber Geiger case just ended. Some would say, oh, they just killed Botham Jean, now they killed her. Well, the Botham Jean case happened last year in September. This case just happened right now in October of the next year. So it's not that close to each other, but it's not that far away. It's too close for comfort, and it's too coincidental that you just had this case of Botham Jean in the news with all the controversy behind it, the judge hugging Amber Geiger and, all that kind of stuff like that just happened. Now you have this particular case. Now, one thing I got to talk about in this that I really wanted to get off my chest, this is why I'm doing the video, quite honestly. I could just wait, but I want to do this right now, so I'm going to get this off my chest. People are saying, hey, are we going to forgive this white male officer for killing this black female innocent person in her own home the same way we forgave Amber Geiger for killing Botham Jean? My question to those people who say that is, who is this we? I've not forgiven anybody. I don't need to forgive or not forgive. Like, nothing happened to me. Nothing happened to you. Unless you know Botham Jean, unless Botham Jean is your family member, your loved one, unless he was in your life in some kind of way, nothing happened to you. Okay, you're not a victim here. His mother, his father, his friends, siblings, they're the victims, not us. So I have no dog in the fight, pardon the expression, but I have no reason to forgive or not to forgive because I'm not the victim. Simple as that. Same thing in this case. I don't know the young lady that passed away, nor do I know the officer. So I don't need to forgive anything or nothing. That's up to their family members, their friends, their loved ones to do with it however they're going to do with it. It's not up to me to tell them how to do with their grief. As long as they don't do anything illegal, nobody should be able to judge them for anything they decide to do as far as how they handle their own grief. Okay, everybody handles things differently. I'm not in their shoes. I can't tell them how to feel. I can't tell them how to express themselves. All I can do is just be a law-abiding citizen and say that everybody follow the law. If you don't follow the law, you get punished accordingly. Now, some would say the Amber Geiger sentence was way too low, and Dallas is corrupt, and this, that, and the third. So this guy will also get a low sentence because of the corrupt system that's just very bad. Well, what is the appropriate sentence for this particular case and also for Amber Geiger? Amber Geiger got 10 years. How was that not appropriate? No prior convictions. It was a clear accident. Everybody knows it. The sentencing guidelines for murder, which is what she was convicted of, is from 5 to 99 years. Why would you get 5 years for murder? Why would you get 99 years for murder? There are sentencing guidelines. Things are taken into consideration for your sentencing, aside from just how somebody feels about it. You have prior offenses. You have the context. Was it an accident? Was it on purpose? Was it a stalking situation? Was there a confrontation beforehand? Could it have been avoided? What led up to the situation? Each thing is different, but people just want to see football numbers. They want to see life, no parole, 1,000 years. We got to talk about law in a black and white way and not just in an emotional way. Talk about it from the rules that are on the books, because what if it's your family member that got charged with something? What if it was your mom, your dad, somebody like that got caught in a situation like this, where it was an accident or it was negligent or it was purposeful? You would want the law to be followed specifically rather than the jury throwing the book at your loved one, the judge doing the same thing. You don't want just an emotional reaction to give the highest sentence possible. You want a legal one, because I gotta say one more thing. When you give out sentences for certain crimes in certain situations, they set what they call precedents. So when the next person does a thing like that, that can be an accident or whatever, the case that just happened will be brought up. Oh, you're talking about 28 years. Well, this guy in Minnesota that killed the white lady, real story, he got 12 and a half. Why should my client get 28? So those things actually matter when you're talking about sentencing. As I close, I want to say this. May Miss Jefferson rest in peace. Very sad situation. Obviously, the officer was negligent, but we don't know the entire story. I want to hear from the guy. Why did you do that? Why did you go up to the window and shoot through it? You can't even see who's on the other side. So they're trying to talk about racism. How can it be racism when you can't even see the person? Maybe he did see the person. Did he see a figure? Did he see their face? Did he see some kind of weapon? I don't know anything like that, but from what I was able to observe on the body cam, he couldn't have seen the race. Maybe he just saw a figure, got spooked, and pulled the trigger. I want to know what the police dispatcher told them before they got to the actual destination. This would just be the first video of probably 2 or 3 I make about this. I'll make another one when we figure out what the guy was thinking, what was going on in his mind. And then I'll probably make another one after we get more info, aside from what he says, aside from what the body camera says, aside from what the family of the victim say. I want to get all the information so I can make a complete assertion of the situation. That's pretty much all I got. What say you? Do you think the officer should be charged with murder as they did? And what sentence should they get? And what are you basing your particular sentencing recommendation on? What is the foundation for that? Personally, I don't really know yet. I think we need more information into the whole thing. Did this guy know her? Did he know anybody in that area? What was he told by the dispatcher? Why did he shoot into the window? Did he see a weapon? Did he see her? Could he see her face? I have tons of questions. Hopefully these get answered sooner rather than later, because there's gonna be some civil unrest in the area. But you know what? I gotta say one thing that's on my mind as well. It's a shame that there's civil unrest for these kinds of injustices, but every day you have the same kind of injustices in the black community that are not done by police officers. You got little kids that get killed, old ladies that get shot, killed, all of that. And I don't see the same kind of energy in response to those situations. I think we need to work on that, and maybe we'd have a safer community overall where officers ain't gonna be on pins and needles pulling their trigger recklessly and killing innocent people. Just maybe, just throwing it out there. It's a thought I had in my mind. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I gotta say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.